What's up, everybody? That was my voice cracking like a 13-year-old. Let's try that one more time. What's up, everybody? I'm Joe Longo. This is 30 Days of Inspiration. This is Anthony Penzarella.
Hey, everybody.
And we are in the healing space at Sit Meditation Center, Sit Meditation Space. How about that?
Yeah.
My brain is not working. We'll blame it on the planets.
Yeah.
Right?
Please do.
So, Anthony and I said already, at Sit. Anthony does some Reiki here, some body work, all kinds of things. What do you do? Tell everybody out there what you do.
Yeah. So primarily I'm an energy healer. I do Reiki, I teach Reiki, I'm a Reiki master teacher. But I consider myself an energy healer because I access different frequencies for energetic healing.
Nice.
So there's a number of different modalities that I've been trained in and practiced over the years.
So if you're interested in any of that, you can have that happen right here. And Anthony asked if we can have this out for our discussion. So tell us, what is this?
This is what's known as the Reiki World Peace Grid.
Mm-hmm.
So the Reiki World Peace Grid, there's actually 5 of these that are placed at different strategic and very spiritual places around the world.
Mm-hmm.
There's one at the North Pole, there's one at the South Pole, there's one in Jerusalem, there's one at the International Center for Reiki Training in upstate New York, and then there's also one in the Reiki Training Center in Maui. And the purpose of these grids, they actually have a frequency all to themselves, they emit a vibration, and all of the Reiki practitioners, there's hundreds of thousands of us around the world, with our intention and working with the energy through consciousness, we're sending peaceful vibes for world peace. And so the grid is a big part of my practice. Not only do I create distant healing grids with this grid, but it's a really important message, I believe. You can't really see it, but what it has, aside from the crystals that are transmitting the Reiki around the world, it has the symbol for each of the major religions and spiritual paths. And there's an inscription on there that reads, "May all the people of all spiritual paths come together to work in peace and harmony."
That's beautiful.
Yeah, so I work with the grid quite a bit for healing, for planetary healing, as well as for personal healing. Yeah.
So let's hit rewind or reverse
Yeah.
for a little bit.
Yeah.
Reiki.
Yeah.
Tell everybody out there. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that might hear the word Reiki or energy healers and instantly go right to that one Seinfeld episode. I don't know if you've ever seen it, but I think they went to meet with a guy named Thor, and whatever ended up happening, it really didn't work out that well for them. I think one of them may have turned purple. I'm not really sure. Yeah. But tell us, what is Reiki?
Yeah.
Is it very woo-woo, or is it... And I've experienced Reiki, so I'm kind of being, really kind of bringing it down.
Yeah.
But for someone that's never heard and just literally saw that Seinfeld episode and was like, whatever, Anthony's an energy healer. What does first, what does it mean, and what is Reiki? Where did it come from?
Yeah, so Reiki, loosely translated, means soul energy. Some also translate it as spiritually guided life force energy. Ki in Reiki is like prana or chi, or in Western world we call it the electromagnetic field. So it's pretty commonplace that we understand that the body is energy and that everything is made up of energy. And most physical and mental problems and emotional problems are first an energetic problem. So whether that's your karma or whether that's a trauma that happened to you earlier in life, the fact is the body doesn't operate as well unless it has the life force being uplifted. I always say to new clients, somebody who's never experienced it before, is that the body works perfectly and it just can't tolerate any interference. And the interference is stress, right? So we're stressed out by just about everything around us, whether that's our...
Well, it's like the new normal.
It's the new normal,
You must be stressed.
You have to be stressed.
Or something just isn't right.
You have to be stressed. And so Reiki, as it's taught around the world, is a Japanese healing art for stress reduction. And as we reduce the stress, we lift the life force, the body heals itself. So it's a technique for stress reduction, for deep relaxation, and it promotes natural healing. So it's used in a number of different hospitals and clinics, pain management clinics, oncology units, hospice care, home care. Pretty much every major medical institution in the world is incorporating some type of energy healing, whether that be Reiki, whether that be healing touch, whether that be pranic healing. There's only about 1 million systems of energy healing out there. This just happens to be the one that I was trained in. This particular one was discovered or rediscovered in 1922 by Usui Sensei in Japan. He went up the mountain to become enlightened and discovered through that enlightenment that he had also the power to heal. And so he began to teach people how to heal, started a healing arts society, and then over the course of the last 80, 90 years, it's been spread throughout the world through the different master teachers that have been trained.
Wow. So how did it find you?
You asked a great question, because that's what everybody asks. Well, how'd you find Reiki? And I said, well, Reiki finds you. Reiki found me at a church auction.
A church auction?
A church auction.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
2014, I was actually not even at the auction. I had a proxy. I was the only one that bid. I paid $30 for a session that was worth $165.
For a Reiki session?
For a Reiki session, for a Reiki treatment.
At a church auction?
At a church
auction are we talking about?
So at the time I was attending a Unitarian Universalist congregation. And so it's less about a church and it's more of a congregation.
Yeah.
And so it's a spiritual congregation, has a lot less of the rules than those which I grew up with.
Right.
And so it was a great group of people, and I happened to meet my Reiki master there, Abby McGillivray of Westchester. She introduced me to this. And the minute I got off the table after my session, something was different. And I just, I knew I had to learn.
I was just about to say, was it one of those like, oh, I know, I feel it.
I mean, I don't know where I went. It was one of the deepest meditative, deepest relaxing sessions I've ever had. And I woke up, or came to, as it were, and I didn't know what happened. I didn't know where I was, but I knew I saw some really cool stuff. I was deeply relaxed, and I really wasn't worried about anything. I knew things were going to be cool.
So after that session, how long before you actually took the steps to become a Reiki master?
Yeah, so I started my training in April of the following year. Very quickly, within a few months, I did my level 2 certification, started with Reiki 1, went to level 2, and then I practiced at level 2 as a practitioner for about 5 months, and then I started my master training, and did my very first master training, and then by the time of about November of 2015, I was practicing at the master level, and then I started teaching in January of 2016 and haven't stopped.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. How long is the typical Reiki session?
So it depends on the client, and it also depends on what we're doing. Right? I offer Reiki sessions anywhere from 60 to 90 minutes. Typically, the client spends anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes actually on the table being worked on. If it's a 90-minute session, I also do some spiritual life coaching, and so we kind of talk about what went on in the session or what they brought into the session, and we do some life coaching around what's going on in their life.
So I was just about to say, how has your life shifted or changed since Reiki found you?
Yeah.
Has it been, because it's one of those things, sometimes these beautiful practices come into our life.
Yeah.
And on the outside it looks like life is woohoo, great. But on the inside, it's this amazing gift and energy that we now have, but it also brings up, has it been, tell me.
It's been brutal, man.
And I say that because I kind of guessed that, because it's like that. Like when I was doing my Kundalini training, like it was great, but it was also it was brutal. And I think a lot of times people out there, well, when you hear energy, anything, and it becomes very woo woo and very like whatever. And that it's just now life is beautiful and everything.
Well, life is beautiful.
Well, right, but you know what I mean. It's almost like you're presented with a new set of challenges.
Yeah. for sure. So, I mean, a couple of things really. You know, it's not all sunshine and rainbows and unicorns. It can be that way when you're laying on the table actually getting a Reiki session, or if you're meditating, you know, as you know. But it's the energy that brings up the hidden stuff that we've hidden away in our energetic fields over the years.
Yeah.
And it comes up for us to look at.
Right.
And it's all not pretty. And some deep stuff. There's some deep work. And some things come up from the past that maybe you thought you forgot about, or maybe you thought you dealt with it, when it actually turns out that you haven't. And you got to look at it again, and again, and again, and again, until it's gone. Right? So
Is that our timer?
it may be our timer.
Or is someone calling you? Sorry about that. Quick break right there. So we were just chatting about how it's not all fairy tales. But it's as if we're given a tool.
Yeah.
We learn how to use the tool to help others.
Yeah.
But then we also have to address
Yeah.
everything that tool then
Yeah.
brings up
Yeah.
within ourselves. It's interesting the way the mind will try to bury things.
Yeah.
And you don't it happens a lot in my Kundalini classes, where people will start coming and then all of a sudden I'll get an email. It's like, I can't come anymore. It's too much.
Yeah.
I can't deal with it. I'm remembering all of these things that I haven't thought about in 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And then I'm always like, no, you have to.
You got to go through it.
You gotta.
The only way through is
in
through.
It. Right. Like you gotta keep going, or you're just gonna keep pushing it back down.
Well, I think that's the thing that really had come up for me is, okay, these things are going to come up and I can either push them back down and go back to the way it was, or I can move through these things and come out the other side and be more conscious and aware of how I'm showing up in the world. Right? And so it's helped me take a really hard look at the decisions that I'm making in terms of who I am, how I present myself to the world. It's had a dramatic impact on my health. In a really good way. You know, before I found Reiki, I had suffered from some pretty dramatic conditions for a few years, of which I was healing from, and actually Reiki found me after. I guess I always say to complete the healing, and then to show me the way that I needed to help other people. And so it's interesting because a lot of the people that show up are people who were just like me. Who are going through some of the very same things, you know, depression, pain management, you know, some motor tic disorders, anxiety, you know, problems with relationships and things. So there's a lot of stuff, right, that can come up in anybody's life. But for me, I think the most dramatic thing that happened is that I don't ever take prescription pharmaceuticals. I never need them. In fact, I don't really ever have to go to the doctor. I'm never sick. I mean, I catch a cold every now and again, but I could probably count on 3 fingers over the past 4 years how many times I've actually been sick. You know, I do run Reiki on myself every day and keep my life force, my vibration very high, and so I don't really get sick. And it's really turned me on to, because of the nature of the practice, right? In order to run the energy in a really profound way, the major part of the practice is to purify the body and to also purify the mind. And so the purification of the body had me made some dramatic diet changes, which I actually really love and give me more energy. But then also there's the principles behind the Reiki practice, which helps purify the mind. You know, the principles that we work with are just for today, no anger, no worries, gratitude for all of the blessings. Work hard with integrity to practice this work daily, and to also be kind and compassionate with ourselves and with all beings. And so just those 5 things just shifted my whole perspective on how I look at the world, how I treat the people in this world.
And those 5 things are so beautiful. Hold on one second. Everyone hold on just 1 second. Okay. You know, sometimes you get a weird feeling like maybe it stopped recording, but it's okay. So those 5, are they like the 5?
They're the 5
principles?
the 5 Reiki precepts.
Will you give them to me one more time?
Yep, just for today, no anger. Just for today, no worries. Just for today, be grateful for all the many blessings in our life. Just for today, work hard. Just for today, be kind and compassionate to all beings.
So I want you to repeat it again, because the first time you said, I'm like, oh wow, like that's good, and they're sweet. And not one of them is, thou shalt not.
No.
Interesting, just how the mind, like I'm more drawn to that. Because there is no, thou shalt not, thou shalt not,
Right.
thou shalt not.
Yeah.
You know, like just that simple little change of verbiage, I think probably could have changed mankind.
Yeah. I agree.
Right?
We have similar backgrounds in the way we grew up.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. But it's such a sweet, like you feel like it's an embrace, not like,
Yeah.
oh shit, I'm gonna get in trouble
Well,
because.
yeah, I mean, it really is. Just the very fact of not living with anger and fear.
Mhm.
Right? And it doesn't mean that we're not going to get angry and we're not going to get fearful. It just means to use those energies as a tool for growth.
Right.
Right? So if I'm angry, I need to do some inner reflection and figure out what it is that's making me angry or why I'm angry about said thing or said person. And then I have to show up differently in my life in order to express the energy differently. And then when we change the way we look at things, right, the things we look at change.
Yeah.
So releasing that tendency to project our anger and blaming others, releasing that tendency to be fearful, because if we're angry, we're sometimes could be said that we're living in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And if we're fearful or worried, we're living in the future. We're not here, right? So just for today is a major principle. It's just for right now, for this day. Like tomorrow, I'll be worried. I procrastinate on the anger and the fear. I said, I'll just be worried tomorrow. Just be worried tomorrow. Just be worried tomorrow. And then ultimately, it's like the stuff comes up, and I look at it and say, well, what can I do about it? And there are certain things I can't change, and I can change who I am and how I show up and what actions I take, but that's it. We can't change the way other people show up, and showing compassion to wherever they are on their journey is the utmost importance, because who are we to judge? Or it doesn't matter if we do that. It just makes things worse for some people.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So well spoken. Excuse me. So this is Anthony. And, sometimes it's funny because like the last 3 people that I've talked to, literally the same thing came up. I'm like, so I was with Dave Hamman on yesterday. I talked to Barry Eichner. And now today, and all 3 of you have this energy that you just kind of want to be around. And Barry and I were talking about the whole vibe attracts your tribe. Yeah. But it really is. Like you can pick up on your energy. And it's just like a happy, want to be around it kind of energy.
We've got the same energy. I love being around you.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And that's how I feel with everyone. It's just like we're all doing this. Yeah. And for the longest time, I was definitely one of those people who was like, whatever, energy. And even with like growing up, the way that I was raised, I remember thinking like, whatever, you're gonna lay your hands on me and I'm gonna be healed. And just totally right, exactly. Didn't buy into it.
Well, it's funny you say that, right? I'll interrupt you for a second because I got turned on to this journey because I was open to chiropractic. My younger brother is a chiropractor, and he also went to the Barbara Brennan School of Light, so he's also a light worker. And when he started telling me about these things that he was now into, first of all, I was not getting on the chiropractic table. Second of all, there was no light coming from his hands, right? And I would joke with him, and I would say, "Oh, so you've got magic hands, right?" How mean was that? Right? It didn't support his new journey, this new shift that he made, this new consciousness that he developed. And sure enough, he put me on the chiropractic table a year before I discovered all this, because I was in tremendous back pain. Now, he hadn't graduated from chiropractic school yet, right? So he was practicing. And I said, if you kill me, well, I guess there's nothing I can do. Fine, I'll help you practice, right? So as I was laying on the table, I saw this green light. And I got off the table feeling better. He adjusted me, and I said, Nick, what's with the green light? And he looks at me and he goes, it's heart energy, man. It's heart energy. It's love. And I looked at him, and he looked back at me with the purest of look, my brother. I gave him this big hug, and I was just like, thank you. That was amazing. And then I experienced that same green light, or that green energy. I tend to be very visual when I got on the Reiki table, so I knew there was something to this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. 'Cause you just have to experience it.
yeah,
You know, you just literally
gotta have the direct
just-
experience. Yeah.
Like two things that sold me on the Kundalini practice. The first was, well, three things. The first was the teacher said we practice with our eyes closed. Total lie. 4 things. Practice with your eyes closed. Then she said, the songs are great, so if you want to sing, you can sing. And your eyes are closed, so nobody will care.
Yeah.
And right there I'm like, oh, this is super cool.
Yeah.
And then before class even started, she had us rub our hands together and then just play with that energy. And that was the first time ever in my life that I ever experienced energy in that kind of way, an energy that I created. So that was the third thing that totally sucked me in. Class didn't even start yet. And I was like, this is going to be the coolest experience of my life. And then the fourth thing was after class, and I felt like I was on a different planet.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm like, I'm just going back. But that whole rubbing of the hands together and then just playing with that energy, I was like,
We could feel it in your whole body.
right.
Right? I mean, you feel it here, but it starts to create those sensations. You get that. What I like to describe to some people is that, you know, when you hear your favorite song on the radio, right? Or you see a picture of yourself and, you know, your friend, your best friend, or you hear from somebody, you get that shot of energy back down your neck, like you get the chills or your hair starts standing up. So that happens for me like for 45 minutes at a time every session. Right? It's like this constant stream, and I just thought it was the coolest feeling.
Right.
You know?
So I feel bad because we're talking about it. So if you are watching and you want to try, go like this, rub your hands together.
rub them together.
As quick as you can. Keep rubbing them together. And keep rubbing them a little bit quicker. And your hands are going to get warm. And then we're going to pull our hands apart. And then bring them together, but don't let them touch. And then just move them around. And feel that. I know.
You feel it?
So wonky. But it's for real.
It's real.
It's real. I love it.
Yeah.
So, thank you for taking the time to hang out. And I'm really, because I totally caught myself, I'm really trying to stop saying so. I feel like I say so 1,000 times. So.
I only heard it 4. Here, do it again.
So.
5, 6.
I've been asking everyone that I've been talking with if you can give everybody out there one little piece of advice on how to keep moving forward in whatever it is that they're doing to keep them inspired. What would that little piece of advice be?
Yeah. So inspiration comes from within. And so my one piece of advice to everyone is don't take any advice from somebody who hasn't gotten the result that you're seeking. You gotta listen to your heart, you gotta listen to yourself. Forget about other people's considerations. Well, consider them, but don't act because of them. You have to act from your heart. Because if you act from your heart, that's your true path. Right? That's how you know you're on your path. And no matter what happens, if you're coming from the heart, you're going the right way. So,
Awesome.
yeah.
Where can everybody out there find you?
They can find me actually on Facebook right now. I'm building my new website.
Okay.
Shifting the branding around a little bit, but the on Facebook it's Reiki by Anthony.
I'll put it right here.
Yep, Reiki by Anthony, and then also you can find me on sitmeditationspace.com. All of the healing appointments, or just call the studio. Otherwise, Reiki by Anthony, and there's all kinds of information. There's articles, there's links to the International Center for Reiki Training, there's video testimonials, pictures of my classes and stuff. It's pretty cool, some of the things that I've provided for people out there to learn a little bit more.
Do you have anything coming up in the near future?
I do. I think
Maybe.
I'm teaching a level 2 certification here at Sit Meditation Space the first Sunday in August.
Okay.
So if there's anybody who's a Reiki practitioner now and wants to get the level 2 certification, I'm doing that. Then the next couple of months I'm doing master trainings. And so it's going to be all about advancing those who've been on the path for a little while. But I pretty much teach level 1 and level 2 once a month. Here as well as some other places, but everybody can kind of check the website and see what the events are coming up, and hopefully we'll see some new people out.
Awesome. Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate you. I appreciate all of this.
Thanks.
And get with Anthony for some Reiki. Play around with that energy.
Yeah.
It's good for you.
It's good stuff.
All right. Thank you all so much. I will see you tomorrow.